Hello, we are back. And I, if I'm honest, thought I would be better than I am right now. Last week's episode, as you may recall, I was under the weather. And I thought by this episode I would be over the weather. But I'm not. I mean, I have energy now. Hopefully I'll seem more upbeat and alert and awake, and I certainly feel it. But still, have that feeling of just, when you have like a cold and you get warm around the nose area. It's just sort of, and then also your whole body temperature is up and down. Now, I've not been cold. It's just every now and again getting really hot. So, it's been a week. It's been over a week now. I thought it was going to be like a 24-hour thing, but here we are. I also looked up what under the weather means because I realised I called last week's episode Jake's Under the Weather. Didn't really know what that meant or I knew what it meant because we all just say it to mean ill. I assume that's all over the world as well. If I've learned anything from my videos, and it's not much, but if I've learned one thing, then it's that there are expressions that mean not a lot around the world, but some that people have their own examples of it. Like I think we say in the UK, you're on cloud 9. I think in Germany, maybe they say I'm on the 7th cloud. If someone can confirm that. It's funny when you get the expressions that are just a bit different and some mean nothing at all. Under the weather. Let me know as well if that means anything to you. Anyway, I looked up where it came from, and it is, now, I don't know how much I believe this, but it's from, apparently, when they were in ships or on ships, if somebody wasn't feeling great and there was a storm, they would go below deck. That's what they would, I'm just going to move the chair forward a bit. They would go below deck if they weren't feeling great, and therefore they were under the weather. I don't know, sometimes, you know that there's like backronyms where you have real life acronyms like FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, but sometimes you have backronyms. Like, do you remember when, again, I wonder if this is all over the world, when you're at school, you learn that Adidas actually means, there's two versions. I'll do the PC version. All day I dream about sport. And then there's the other one, but you can imagine what the other one is. I mean, it's sex, but that's obviously a backronym, right? That's not what it was, I assume. Anyway, I feel like sometimes these sayings and these expressions come about and then people sort of work them backwards to go, oh, it's actually from that. I remember there being, this is probably about 16 years ago now, it was 2010 anyway, on Facebook. There was this viral post that went round, and it was where all these expressions came from. And people were sharing it, but I don't know if it was, again, I didn't really trust it. It's just worked too well. It was saying about a certain time in the past. Vague. But it would be like, it's raining cats and dogs was because people's houses had thatch roofs, and when it was cold, cats and dogs would sleep in the roof, but then when it rained, it got so wet they would slide through, so you knew it was bad, and everyone would say, it's raining cats and dogs. I don't think anyone's ever that's, if I'm in bed and cats and dogs are falling on top of me, I mean, who do you have to tell that to? When would you ever have to say, it's raining cats and dogs? They'd go, I know, there's a dog on my face. So it's so funny, when I start this podcast, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about and where I'm going to go. I didn't think that 5 minutes in, I'd be saying there's a dog on my face. Anyway, and then it would be like, again, maybe these expressions aren't all over the world, but something like that he doesn't have a pot to pee in, would be that they couldn't afford to have a toilet, so there was just a pot in the corner of the room, and that was that. And you go, okay. And then there were just all these, and then there was I don't know about this one. There's one about a wake, I remember it being that maybe this one's real. I don't think this was part of the post, so I'll go into that in a bit. But there were all these things that were like phrases, and I get confused by phrases anyway. Because, if somebody spends a lot of time at the pub, or if somebody's very drunk there, they say, oh, they were there propping up the bar. And I never knew what that meant, because whenever I've seen anybody drunk in a pub, the bar's propping them up. It does so I could never figure out what that one meant. It's a bit like when it is about to rain, cats and dogs, and there is like a bad storm, and people say the heavens have opened, and I just thought, no, it looks like they're closed, because when it's a blue sky, you go, oh, there's the heavens above, that's the heaven. And then, I mean, I've never done that, but that seems like what heaven looks like. There's like white fluffy clouds and blue sky. That's what you picture as heaven. So when the grey clouds come over, it looks like heaven's shut its doors. We should be saying, oh, heaven's closed. And because heaven is closed, we're now getting the worst weather, because we're that distant from heaven now, because heaven's shut its doors. So one of the phrases I remember learning about, I guess it wasn't so much a phrase, it was all around funerals, and it was around wakes. And I learned, and again, I don't know if this is real, that the reason, or in the past, again, I'm just using the past, very vague, but a wake was because people would pass away, but then they would notice that maybe when they reused coffins, there were like scratches on the top of the coffin. So they thought people were waking up. So then when they buried people, they would tie a bit of string to their finger, and above it was a bell. And if they woke up, they would just shake their finger, and the bell would ring. And the people who work the graveyard shift, which is where that comes from, they would then be ready with a spade to dig up whoever's bell was ringing it, and they go, oh, great, John, you're back. So what they realised was lead poisoning was causing people because people were drinking out of lead, like metal, what's it called when, like, you picture Henry VIII drinking out of one. Henry VIII drinking out of a, I'm not going to Google this one because it's one I should remember, not rather than something I don't know. Tankard. You picture them drinking out of tankards, and maybe there was lead tankards. So they were poisoning people, lead poisoning, which I know is definitely a thing. And so those people would drink out of the lead cups. Now, they didn't know this was why people were doing this, but they would get lead poisoning, pass out for a few days, or be like in a coma. People assumed they were dead, buried them, then they'd wake up and go, oh, that was a mistake. So they had a wake. So what you would do is you'd put that person in a room, and you'd all just eat around them, and everyone would gather around to see, are they going to wake up, or have they actually gone? Let's see if they wake up. It's a wake. But again, it's all too convenient, isn't it? Surely. That's why we call it that. I think it's probably not. I think this is a similar post probably I saw that's somebody's back, I don't know, like a backronym, I don't know what it'd be for history, but somebody has, like, gone backwards to make it all fit too nicely. Surely. I don't know how I got to that. Under the weather. Yeah. Again, is that where it's from? We're also, unless you're on a plane, we're all under the weather, no matter what it is. So it doesn't really make sense. Maybe that is the one where you would be you're under the weather, you're under the sea. Little Mermaid. So yeah, not as well as I thought I'd be by now. I'm just going to take my first sip of the episode. I'm here with a cup of tea, which has just reminded me. So it's a good sip, so I took another. I need to buy tea bags. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because I go away tomorrow on my skiing trip. I've been talking about this skiing trip for a while. I think January has gone on longer than I realised. So I kept thinking it was happening next week. It's actually happening tomorrow. So I'm recording this on Friday the 23rd of January. We go tomorrow. And also I realised we go tomorrow, Saturday. So you'll be listening to this. This comes out on Monday. And I'll be there. I would be probably on my second day of skiing. So we'll get there tomorrow. It's probably ski Sunday. We'll definitely ski Sunday. I mean, probably won't ski tomorrow. Ski Sunday, Ski Sunday used to be a TV show. Ski Sunday, ski throughout the week. Anyway, I'm back next Saturday night, so I might actually do an episode next Sunday. So I will do one from home when I'm back, all about the skiing trip. Hopefully, with all my bones intact. So yeah, that's tomorrow. So today has just been, whenever I go away, my day before is always just doing little bits, trying to get every little bit ready for the trip. Even when I went to Center Parcs the other day, it was almost like the full day of just getting things ready. And last night I was going over a checklist of things I need to get done. And then today, now it's about 3:30, 4:45. And I've done bits, but I've done loads of little bits where I've not actually completed anything. Like I keep packing every now and again. I'll go, oh, I need to pack that. I dream of being a light packer, but I just put stuff in, and skiing is especially hard to pack for. Now, my rule anyway, when you go away, is basically sometimes when I go away, like last April, I went to Australia on tour. I was there for a month. So you just want to pack your wardrobe you're going to wear in warm conditions, because you cannot schedule that far ahead. And also you can do washes and that when you're there anyway, because I had apartments wherever I was staying. Anyway, you can't go through and say, on this day I'll wear this, on this day I'll wear this, because you don't know what's going to happen. Now, I'm quite lucky anyway in that I do sort of wear the same thing every day, in that this is where we'll get into the, what's the phrase here? We'll get into there's a phrase there, isn't there? It's like, we'll get into the thick, not the thick of it, but it's like, we'll get into the weeds, I think they say. So my underwear, I always wear Uniqlo boxers, Uniqlo socks. Watched a YouTube video yesterday, and they said, as a part of Tokyo that has a 12-floor Uniqlo. Not the main reason to go there, but I would love to go to Tokyo and to Uniqlo. But boxers are from Uniqlo, and so are the socks. However, when I do sports, I have Nike boxers and Nike socks. Heard a podcast earlier where it was two Americans, and one of them told the other American, it's a podcast called The Watch, about TV in the industry. Anyway, one of them couldn't believe that in the UK we don't say Nike, and the other one was saying, "Show me one Brit who doesn't say Nike." I was like, I think it's probably like 95% of us just say Nike. You get an odd look if you say Nike, because they also say, is it Adidas? Adidas. Anyway, when it's sport, I wear Nike just so I know it's easy in the morning if I'm going to the gym or if I'm going to play football or badminton, Nike. And then if otherwise Uniqlo. So when I'm skiing, during the day I'll be skiing at sport, so that's going to be Nike boxers with Nike socks, but then skiing socks over the top of that. But then in the evening, not going to wear that because I've been skiing, have a shower, get changed into Uniqlo. Basically, I have to take double everything when I go skiing because of my rules in my head. Then you've got thermals, you've got extra t-shirts, which are, I bought ones from Uniqlo actually this week. Thermal tops, 3 that are round collar and 3 that are, is it crew neck, and then 3 that are rolling ones, which make you look very, very much like a skier wearing a roll neck. Anyway, so you've got that, so much layers. So you just have to have a big suitcase anyway. And then you've also got the ski trousers. I've been calling them all sorts this week. Celoteps, shallots, salopettes. Salopettes, a thick ski jacket, like so much. Then you've got to think about things to wear in the evening. So, whew. And then I have rules. So now I've got these Champion tracksuit bottoms that I wear, and I've got these three times, 2 grey, 2 black. You need to pack those. You need to pack hoodies. You need to think about comfort. It's a lot to think about. I need another sip. Anyway, that's what goes on inside my head when it comes to packing. You've got to think about pajamas as well. Sorry, my throat gets very dry doing this. It's probably the most I talk at the minute because I'm not on tour. I do always try to move the microphone away from my mouth when I sip, by the way. So sorry if I do ever forget to do that because I know some people hate it. Weird if you ASMR, so it's not weird if you like it. Some people do. Now I'm torn. I have to release 2 edits. One of them for people with, there's a name for it. They don't like the sound of people chewing and eating. And then there's people who are into ASMR. I had a nightmare with customer service this week, twice. One of them was, I woke up. I just need to cough for a second, sorry, then I'll get into this. Also, sorry, I've just noticed my phone really flashing up here. I've had messages from a friend of mine. I don't know if they listen to this, but she had to put her cat down this week. So she was posting a story. Actually, she posted her stories. And you know, usually when someone has a load of stories, they don't really you don't watch them all. It's too long. You know, you see those white lines, but I knew what hers was about. And she sort of took you through the whole process of when you have a pet put down and what it's like. So I was watching that yesterday. And so they have the time scheduled in. Then she went and sat with her cat at home for a few hours, took him in. But when it gets to that point, I guess you know what you're doing is for the best. Yeah. But that was her just messaging me back. So it makes you want to go and I would say I want to go and stroke Richard Parker, but he's out and about. Can I see him now? Yeah, he's really far over the back. I can see into a few back gardens, and he's sat on a fence just looking at something I can't see, something out of my view. But I'd say he's probably 60, 70 meters away. But because he's black, it means at night, sometimes I must be calling him and he's just like there watching me. And I feel like he's missing somewhere, but he's just there. He must know, doesn't look that important. I'll stay here. We're on TV tonight, me and Richard Parker, on David Baddiel's Catman on Channel 4. So if you're in the UK or have a VPN, you can watch that on Channel 4. Well, it's obviously on Channel 4 and then 4OD. If you want, it's just me talking about him. And I realised I've just talked about Cat passing away, so I'm worried people might be listening to this with children in the car, or in the background. I talk about on there Richard Parker getting, I'll spell it, SHOT. He's only got one eye, as you might have seen. So it's how that happened. Under my care, I had him with 2 eyes, and then he had 2 eyes. Now he's got one. I'm not giving anything away there. But I talk about that on there, and when it happened, how he had loads of other cats turn up in the garden and wanted to be his friend. So that's cool, and it really happened. It was I've got there's photos that I sent in and videos of him with other cats. After it happened, just so many cats wanted to be his friend. Quite amazing. Anyway, customer service this week. So I woke up one morning and I had a message from Barclays, a text message to say we need to what was it? We need to update your address. Now, I'd called them about 2 months ago to say I need to change my address. Now, it's late because actually I've lived here for a year now, but I realised I hadn't done it. The girl was so nice on the phone, had a good chat, updated my address, all fine. But I needed a new card sent out and stuff for online banking, but that never came. So that was 2 months ago, and I had thought about it a few days before. Then I got the text. We need to make sure we've got the correct address for you. And I was like, yeah, you do actually, because that hasn't come through. But they text me, but they didn't give me a number to call. I also had an email from them, and the email didn't have a number to call either. So I had to Google it. I was thinking, this is strange. Is this real? And it was real. It was the real account, and it was the real... I scrolled up and I saw it was real messages I've had from them in the past. But there was no actual number to call, so I had to Google it. I called them. And then it's so strange when you've called them, but they've asked you to. So I was like, well, I've had an email and a message to say, call you to change my address. And they said, well, let's make sure we've got the right address. And they said, what's your address? And I said, well, I can give you my address, but my current address isn't going to be the one you've got. So I gave them my address. They said, no, that's not the one we've got on record. I was like, well, yeah, that's not on me, is it? I am who I am. I'm just giving you, because you have to prove who you are with your address. So I am doing that. And they're saying no. So I gave them the old address. They said, yeah, that's the one we got on file. And I was like, well, yeah, that's wrong. So can we change it? They're like, yeah, of course. I was like, great, that's fine. I said, I did it 2 months ago. I said, is there anything on your system to say that I called up? No. Okay. Well, I did, and they were supposed to send stuff out, and nothing's come. They said, okay, let's update the address. So they do that, and then they go, can't seem to do it. And I was like, oh, okay. Why? They're like, don't know, it won't let me. Let me put you through to someone else. One moment. Then it's a long pause. Someone else. Hello, through to Barclays. Hey, someone put me through. I was talking to somebody else. Okay, what was the issue? I just wanted to change my address, and they couldn't do it. Why couldn't they do it? I don't know. Right, okay. What's your address? Anyway, I spoke to 4 people. Nobody could change my address. At one point, I spoke to somebody and it went silent for ages. Then they just hung up. So I had to call back and go again. You know when you call up a customer service system and they've said the whole thing of, here's a little hack I've learned. If you're on the phone to customer service and they say stuff like, do you want to speak to an advisor? Say, basically they say, do you want to speak to an advisor? And you have to go, yes. No, you have to speak in a way you've never spoken as well. But you can't just go, yeah. You have to go, yes, no. What I realised is it's binary. You can just press the number 1 and 1 means yes and 2 means no and you get through. But anyway, when it gives you like 5 or 6 options and they're so slow, If you'd like to talk about this issue, but because of this, press 4. If you would like, and you'd go, oh my god, and because I'd managed to get through to somebody the first time, I was trying to then make that work the second time to how I got through to an actual human. In the end, I just kept saying the word human, and tried to get them to do that. In the end, they do it. If you just sort of keep saying the word human, it works. Anyway, they said, can you go into an actual branch and change your address? Take a proof of address and go in and change your address. Then the other customer service issue I had was with UPS, which I always thought UPS were like the best. Up there with like FedEx, UPS. That's going to get the job done. Boy, oh boy, I had an email. So it was for ski jackets. Can't believe I just said boy, oh boy. But I ordered ski jackets. I say plural because it's online. I never know what size I'm going to be. So I ordered the same jacket, 2 different sizes. What I sometimes do, though, if I'm not sure, like in this, what's the word? In this, not example, in this scenario, there were 2 jackets I liked. I couldn't tell which one I preferred, so I bought one in small, one in medium. Then I was worried I was going to prefer the one that was medium, but need the small. So it's a bit of a risk. Anyway, I ordered them, and I got an email 2 days later, 10:30 in the morning, delivered. Great. Check the email. There's a photo for proof of delivery, but it's not my porch, because where I live, it's like in London, it's I guess like mansion blocks, or what used to be big houses turned into apartments. So you get like a communal porch area, and it wasn't mine. So they hadn't said we couldn't deliver it, so we delivered it to another address. They just said we have delivered it. Here is the proof. But the proof was of a different porch. What's the word I'm trying to think of here? Because it's not a porch. Hallway? I can't think what it is. Anyway, I had to try and call them again, trying to speak to a human, just to say, you have delivered it, but not to the right place. Of course, on their system, it says confirm delivery. So I spoke to somebody and they said, no, we can see it's been delivered. I said, yeah, I can see it too, but that's not where I live. And they think it's my address. So they've not said, it's actually at number 24. There was just no address because they think it's mine. So it just went on and on. Then they said, call the local depot. So I had to call the local depot. And he said, I can see on the system it's been delivered. And I was like, yeah, it's so weird to explain, I know, but they think that's my address and that's not my address. So that's the fault. And maybe they need to show more than just the inside of the building. They need to show the front door, because otherwise I have to just go knocking every door to ask if I can see their porch. I sound like a weirdo. But in the end, with UPS, the driver came back. And she was very nice, and she said, "I'm so sorry. I don't know how I did that. I just went to the completely wrong door, dropped it off. I had another one, and it went with it. So it was one of those sort of human errors where that's the problem. Human error, fine, but it's on a system. It doesn't understand human error. So everyone's just looking at this data to say been delivered." I'm like, yeah, not there though. Something's happened. You need to put me in contact with the driver. We need to talk. Not me talking to somebody that they've never met, I've never met, and you're just trying to go off both of our information. Anyway, it came in the end. But then I needed to return them. So to return them, it said just scan. It gives you a code, barcode. Take this to your local depot, and they will scan it and send it. Then I go there, and it turns out you have to print it. So I had to print it and send it. God, blimey. Anyway, I got a good jacket in the end. All the reviews say 5-star, so warm, loved it for skiing, loved my jacket. It doesn't feel that thick, so I'm apprehensive. I've got lots of thermals and layers, but it just doesn't seem that thick. I've got an actual, I was going to say actual, I don't know why I said actual. I have got a coat that's designed in the, I would say in the 90s ski jacket, maybe even 80s ski jacket style. It's like very warm. It's almost like a shell puffer thing. Hard to describe, but it's in like an old sort of, I'd say 90s, 80s green. It's like a retro thing. It is exactly what I wanted. This was one I bought 2 or 3 years ago, but it's not for skiing. It's just, it comes with a built-in fleece. You can't really layer too much with it because there's not enough room. So I couldn't really wear that one skiing, but that would have been cool. So I got a longer one. And it's hard to find men's ski jackets. Maybe it's because we're in the UK and they're not that needed. But it's a lot of them do make you look like a snowboarder. I think what's happened is skiing looks cooler now. So they maybe snowboarding would be the sort of the baggier looks, the cooler one, and then skiing was like maybe a bit more straight. Anyway, maybe they've made that, they've given the ski look a bit more swag now. Anyway, so I've got to call another green one. More importantly, what I wanted to get is not only something that was warm, but something that I knew I would wear in everyday life as well, because otherwise you just got a coat that you're wearing every 4 years. So I'd like to go skiing more, so hopefully that won't be the case. But it's a good one. It's green, favourite colour. I'm looking at it now over in the distance, and I'm happy for it. And I put it on every now and again if I'm just around the house, just to get the feel of it. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for skiing. I've not been for a long time. I was supposed to go. There's an indoor place about an hour and a half from me, and so indoor skiing I was hoping to go to, but because I was ill, I couldn't go. I got up with all intention to go, and then before I knew it, I was just on the sofa with no energy, and I was really hot, and I just had to sleep. But I wanted just to go and just to get back in the movement. But otherwise, I've got a week to get good again. Because when I'm warmed up, is that the right wording? But I will do a black diamond. Maybe if we start Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'd probably go. Because all you have to do, as long as you go side to side, as long as it's not too annoying for everybody, just to say you've given it a go. But you have to really know that you can trust the turn-in. The turn-in is important, obviously, but you have to make sure you're really on top of that. Thinking about it now, I'm thinking I won't do it because I'll get scared, but it'd be good to give it a go. I just need another sip. My friend messaged me yesterday to ask what I thought about the Oscars. I used to be into the Oscars when I was younger, and then I don't know what happened. I just sort of, I don't know. I didn't even know that he had messaged me because the nominations were out this week. I just assumed, I think, that the nominations came out ages ago. I don't know. I'm that sort of not that sort of it. I don't know. As I said, I listen to film podcasts and industry podcasts. So, and I love film, obviously, but I think it's because, I don't know, that whole thing of it anyway, I think, when it's art and entertainment, how that becomes a competition, I find very confusing, because I know anyway, I'm sure there's going to be some big revelation in years when they go how rigged the whole thing is. Or even if it's not rigged, it's stupid. Wasn't it even this year they made it where the judges actually do have to watch every film that's nominated? I said, well, I assume that's what you've been doing the whole time. What do you mean you're going to make sure you watch every single one? They've not been watching them all. They've just been watching the ones they like and going, yeah, that'll be the one for me then. I just need another sip. My throat's feeling really dry. Anyway, I didn't even know the nominations were out, and you just see them. I saw one of the excuse me, sorry. I saw one of the Instagram pages had shared um, all the nominations. So I scrolled along. Some films I knew, a few I'd never heard of. I guess ultimately, just wait until they've announced who is winning or who's won, and then have a look there and go, okay, well, maybe that's a film I should check out then, because people who are experts really liked it. Great. But otherwise, I'd sort of make my own choice, really, if I want to watch it or not. I did always like it when a smaller film would do well at the Oscars, then it gets another cinema release and everyone goes to see it. And I didn't see Sinners, and I know Sinners done really well, which I think people were prepared for it not to be, and maybe it was going to be a bit of a controversy, but it seems like it's maybe even got the record for the most nominations. So I like the, seeing around it, seeing who's won, but I just don't get the whole buzz, because it's, how can you know? If all the leading actors had to do a 100-meter sprint, then we could all say, yep, without any question, Timothée Chalamet was the fastest. Can't deny that. There we go. Great. But when it's this, you go, well, how can I think like Sinners is it's like a vampire film. And that's up against table tennis. We go, when's that ever happening? So, yeah, just, I think also, if you're nominated, that's enough. That's you've won. Like, you've nominated. Okay, you go, right, of all the films that came, these are the best 5 this year. You go, great, look at that. Well done. That's so cool. Then the whole winning thing, I go, well, Oscar nominated. I go, that's, you can always use the leaves on your posters, and you can always say that. That's probably enough, isn't it? I think I'd rather be nominated than win, because you don't have to go and do a speech. One of my pet peeves is when somebody British wins, and then they go, oh, little old me, how did this happen? You go, well, because it's they sort of do it as though they woke up that morning and found out they'd won an Oscar. You go, well, no, you went and you've been acting for years. You probably went to drama school. You've been cast in TV shows and films. You made a name for yourself. You did a film that is of the sort of caliber that would be nominated. You did the role. You put loads of effort and thought and work and dedication into the role. You put yourself forward to be nominated. Just to be clear, in case people don't know how it works, you put yourself forward to be nominated. And so I think there was somebody this year who hasn't been, everyone said was snubbed. The word snubbed does very well around the Oscars. Someone was snubbed for one role, but it's because they didn't get supporting, but they actually put themselves forward for main. That's why. So you put yourself forward, you did all the PR around it, and there was a bit of play in the game. Then it came out, you found out you were nominated, you got dressed, you planned the whole thing, you decided what you were going to wear, you thought about winning, you thought about your acceptance speech, you sat there among all these other people who are hoping to win as well, who have done all the same hard work, dedication, and then they say, and the winner is Jack Fostekew. And then Jack Fostekew goes up there and goes, oh, blimey, how's this happened? Well, 30 years of work, probably. Anyway, don't really know who that's a dig at. I can't think of anyone. I wasn't going to name names, obviously. Not that they're going to go, whew, well, I enjoyed winning the Oscar, but it was really tarnished when Jake Lambert came after me. On SIP happens. But, that whole thing of, oh, I can't believe this. It doesn't have to just be British. It can be anybody. But it's like, what is going on? I think the worst speech was a Matthew McConaughey, wasn't it? I watched Interstellar this week. It's good to watch films when you're ill. You just guilt-free switch off and watch a film. I watched Interstellar. Hadn't seen it since it was in the cinema. Love it. Don't. The bookcase thing still does sort of confuse me, but I do really like the film. But then his Oscar speech, was it for Dallas Buyers Club? How his hero was him in a year's time or something? Yeah. You can go through the looking glass, can't you? I think on that one. But I'll check in and see who's won. I just don't fully understand everyone talking about it. In fact, what I did this week with my friends, and this is more what I'm talking about with it being a competition. I came up with the idea of us doing a film draft. Now, when I play like fantasy football with the American football, how the fantasy works is you get 12 people together and you all have a team. So you build your team because the person with the number one pick, they get to pick who they think is the best player. Then the second person picks the second best player, all the way down to 12. Then whoever gets the 12th pick, because they've actually got the 12th best, but not the best, they get to then start the next round. So they would get the 12th pick and the 13th pick, and it would go all the way back down to 24. So now the person with the first pick, they had the first pick, which is great, but then they didn't get another pick until the 24th pick. So it balances out. So I said to my friends in a friendship group I've got, 5 of us, we're all really into film. I'd say 4 of us really are. Yeah, Dan is as well. Yeah. All into film. I said, let's do a draft this year. We each pick 5 films that we think are going to make the most of the box office. It's a big year for films. There's big ones coming out. You've got The Odyssey, you've got Spider-Man, you've got Toy Story, Shrek, Minions, a Star Wars film, Dune. There's big films coming out. I said, let's all take it in turns. So I did a draft. I wrote all our names down, put the names in a bowl, filmed me doing it. So it was all fair. Everyone got their number. I was number 4 on the list of 5. So I said, here it is. Dan, you're number 1. You get the first pick. So we each take it in turns. Dan, then Jam, then Leon, then Dustin, then me. No, sorry. Me, then Dustin. So Dustin, we've all picked a film each. Then we work our way back up. Dustin picks the next one, then me, then Leon, then Jam, then Dan. We all picked 5 films that we think are going to make the most. So that means this time next year we can check in which of our 5 films in total made the most money at the box office. It's just a bit of fun. It's a way of making it actually, you can't deny that. I've sort of made film sport. Anyway, I'll read you my list, if you like, of what I think is, that's good news. I just had I saw I had a missed call, and then I had a follow-up text to say it was an accidental dial. Lovely. So my picks were, now remember, I got the 4th pick and then the 7th. If this makes sense to you, so there's 5 of us. I was number 4, then it comes back around, then we snake round. So I got, these are, of all the films coming out, this is what I chose with where I was as what I think collectively will make the most money. Toy Story 5, I was happy with that. To go 4th and get Toy Story 5, I felt in a very good position. Then Dustin went with, who was after me, he went with The Odyssey, Christopher Nolan's new film, and Shrek 5. So he's done very well as well on the turn there, because The Odyssey, Nolan, I think even, what was the last one? Oppenheimer. Now, it did have the Barbie bump as well, but he got close to $1 billion. And then The Odyssey is a big one, isn't it? That's, Yeah. Will that do better or worse? I think it's... Huh. It's the sort of film you want to go and see done well. I want to see it. I think I'll probably see... Nolan's one of the ones, when it comes to Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, they're probably the only two that I'll definitely go to cinema to watch their stuff. Anything else, you go... Maybe Spielberg's got a new space one out this year. It feels like he's going back to what he used to do. So I'd say that. Anyway, I got Toy Story 5, Spider-Man. Now, Spider-Man, I think you're pretty locked on there to do very well. I'm happy with that. I then got controversial Michael, the Michael Jackson biopic, which could either blow up or tank. It will do either one, won't it? It's either you have to see this film. It's incredible. I think it's a relative of his who's playing him, isn't it? Who's playing this? I can Google because I definitely don't know who is playing Michael Jackson in the new movie. That's, by the way, I didn't write movie. It came up when I started to type. Michael Jackson's nephew, Jafar, is playing the King of Pop in the new biopic Michael, marking his feature film debut with Giuliano Crivoldi portraying young Michael. Oh, okay, so there have to be two. So there's two of them doing it. So, is it going to be huge and everyone loves it and we all go and watch it and everyone's raving about Michael, or is it going to be, yeah. So I got that, and then I got Minions 3, which I'm happy with. They make loads. It's only the third one, hence Minions 3. They've made. So I think that'll do well, won't it? And then I went for, because the films got smaller as you go on, because there's 5 of us and we're each picking 5. So by the time we'd picked 20, those sort of big blockbuster ones had gone. Although I hadn't realised that June went really late. I thought June had already gone, and then my friend Jam got June with his 5th pick. I thought it had gone. And then I went with The Drama, which I think The Drama could do well because it's Zendaya and Robert Pattinson, and I feel like the whole PR thing around it's been very cool. I just dropped my phone. It's the PR around it. It's an A24 film who make... Well, they did Marty Supreme. They do cool films. They know how to get Gen Z to go to the cinema. Is sort of how I paint A24. Very cool. I think the PR will be good. It's got Zendaya, who's in that, and Spider-Man, and The Odyssey this year. I think she's got another one as well, but that's crazy. This has got very film heavy, hasn't it? Sorry about that, but it was just because of the game I was playing with my friends. So I'll go in a bit. This has been lovely. Hopefully you've enjoyed it as well. Thanks again for everybody for getting in touch. And seeing the comments come through, Spotify and YouTube, I try and keep up to date with them both. And just hit that star rating. I can see the numbers. So I don't understand. I think it maybe is because people are all around the world, which is so nice. I did say I was going to read out some of the countries that listen. Because you can see, I think it's only Spotify where you can see the countries of who listens via Spotify rather than all over different, like Apple Podcasts and all the others. Discovery. There is a way to to see. I'm not very good at this actually. I'm sort of navigating my way around. The app is a different app. It's called Spotify for Creators. Here we go. So, United Kingdom, United States. These are the top. I'll go through. I'll do the top 10, then I'll scroll right down to the bottom, and we can see what the more niche ones are. UK, United States, Australia, Canada, Germany, Ireland, Sweden, Belgium, the Netherlands. Then if we scroll right to the bottom, South Korea. So if you're listening in South Korea, thank you. South Korea, Malaysia, Uruguay, Russia, Estonia. Wow. So these are, I get to see Vietnam. Get to see where people are listening from all over the world. So thank you. Blimey. Yeah, that's really cool to see. Japan. So thank you very much. As I say, I know people say this on podcasts all the time. Of course, I like to grow the podcast, but I like having a bit of a community that I can be in touch with every week. But so I will reply to comments, Spotify, YouTube, I'll be there. But just hit the star rating, because what happens with other podcasts is they get viral clips where they will get guests on as well. You'll get a big bump, you'll get a guest on, and then people love that guest. So more people download it, and then a few of them stick around, so it grows. But it's just me. And I don't really know how the clips would work here. We just sort of... somebody should start. What I would love is a out of context sip happens. You know when you get those ones and it's just me saying, I mean, anything I've said in the last hour, basically, that you can post. Maybe I should start doing that. Anyway, sorry, that's a real... you didn't have to listen to that. It's sort of me having a meeting with myself about how to grow the podcast. Anyway, thank you for listening. It's also on YouTube, so that's cool to see as well. As I say, if you listen on Spotify, you can comment there, and I'll get in touch and make sure I reply there, and then otherwise use YouTube, and we can have a chat. Most people were telling me that I should listen to the audiobooks of Harry Potter. Only one person said I shouldn't. They were old school. They said, not in age, just in style. I didn't check, but they said make sure you read the books. But I just don't. If I did that, what I'd have to do is one book every year, because I've got a long list I'm getting through. Somebody commented about the fact that I talked about Lonesome Dove watching the series. Can't wait. And now that I'm reading it, loving the book, I keep reading bits and wondering how's that gonna come across, when you like how they're gonna do that visually. So I'm excited for that. So Harry Potter, I would ideally like to read it. Maybe I will read it. Maybe just one a year. But how many years is that? A lot. But it would be a nice thing to imagine around Christmas. But I'll do one this year. Just read it. It won't take long, will it, I imagine? A week? Yeah, I would like to. I should do. Anyway, on that note, 53 minutes. Somebody did say that is their commute to work. So if I could keep it to 53 minutes, that would be ideal for them. And you're welcome. I'm off now. Finished packing. I've got a gig tonight down in Portsmouth. And then tomorrow I go to... fly to Geneva to ski in what I was calling Les Gets, and then somebody informed me that it's France, so it's probably Les Gets. Good point. See you next week. Bye.